Good morning, beautiful people, and welcome to California. I'm talking to you from the pretty San Francisco. This live stream is gonna have to be, well, let's see if we can do this live stream because it's very windy here. And I guess it will keep certain consistency among my live streams at this point, since my latest live stream was very much featured by wind. I hope that the audio is not gonna be affected so much, but this live stream is gonna be a little bit of a collaboration with me and you. And the reason being that this is my first time into San Francisco. I mean right now, today is my first time in San Francisco. I literally just arrived, and I'm not staying here in the city these days, by the way. So I have no idea where to go, where I am. And I don't have a second phone to check out Google Maps other than the phone through which I'm doing this live stream, so you're gonna have to help me out probably. Mandi Dario! Hi Stephanie! Stephanie, I'm finally in your state, yes! Hello everyone! So, I made a quick research yesterday evening to pick a neighborhood to take a walk with you today, to start exploring San Francisco. And I decided of this one, which is called Haight-Ashbury, I think. In the meantime, I have to show you this architecture. Gay Brush, I was born in San Francisco. Vijay, nice to see you in my city. Amazing day. Yes, it is an amazing day. Stephanie, thanks for the pronunciation tip of this neighborhood that is called Haight-Ashbury. Thank you. And it's not super central, so I could have stayed, you know, in the really touristic center of San Francisco where all the touristy attractions are. But then I decided that, you know, already I'm in a city which I don't really like that much to promote on my channel. I prefer to promote countryside kind of places, but it seems like you guys really enjoy my strolls in cities on live streams, and so I decided to come all the way to San Francisco today for this live stream. But at least I didn't pick the most touristy neighborhood. This is still very touristy, but it's a little bit less, I guess. And it is famous for the hippie movement apparently, but as I said, I didn't prepare at all for this live stream, so I'm sorry about that. You're gonna have to help me out, and in the comments I have already heard that some of you is from San Francisco, some of you might live in San Francisco right now, some of you might have visited and really liked it and really researched. So just let me know in the comments whatever little information or curiosity about San Francisco and about this neighborhood you might want to share, and the most interesting ones I will pick them and read them out loud. Hello to, I don't know how to read Cyrillic. This is not your name. Sorry, not be able to pronounce you. Hello from Ukraine. All compassion for you Ukrainian people in these harsh moments of your history. Emanuele, vai a comprare del cioccolato da Ghirardelli. Emanuele says to buy some chocolate at Ghirardelli. I passed in front of it by car earlier, and it's a very famous and touristy spot. Apparently Ghirardelli chocolate is really to be found anywhere in California in shops. I didn't know it, to be honest, but some locals made me try some chocolate from Ghirardelli the other day, and it was truly delicious. But we're not gonna visit that today. Stephanie, I used to shop at vintage clothing stores in the Haight. Good to know. Let's see if we can find some.
There's a lot of cases where like
Patrio Proud, I really don't like your username. I'm sorry to say it like this directly, but I think you should consider changing. Little Italy's. You know, I actually read it yesterday in my very quick research about neighborhoods in San Francisco. Yeah, maybe I should go at some point. Damiano, less windy than last time. Good vibes. We'll see, because it feels pretty windy so far. I guess it depends if you're up or down. San Francisco is all up and downs. There are such steep slopes here, and yeah, I find that very interesting, very characteristic, and I absolutely love it. I grew up on the hills, and so whenever I'm in a very flat place, I don't feel very comfortable, I must say. I miss seeing hills, missing slopes, so I would say I probably feel much more at ease, like comfortable here in San Francisco than when I walk in New York. I don't know if this is quite common architecture of San Francisco or landscape, but it's really pretty. Don't you agree? All these colorful townhouses. David, the Botanical Gardens in Golden Gate Park is a nice place to visit. Yes, I've heard. I mean, Golden Gate Park is really here to my left, very close, and it's the biggest park in San Francisco, I've read. It was just not suggested for not long walks because it's very big. So I don't know. My idea was to walk along Haight Street, I think it's called. Sorry about pronunciations and streets. I told you I literally just looked at Google Maps a second. Garbage truck, very noisy. And so I was thinking about, I think it's called Haight Street, sorry. Haight Street, and arrive to Buena Vista Park and hopefully get a nice view of San Francisco from there. Who knows San Francisco? Tell me if that's a good plan for this live stream. Ah, ciao Greta! Greta was featured in not in my latest video, but in the one before. She's the one who celebrated her birthday with me in Lisbon. Virginia is asking me if I prefer New York City or San Francisco. It's very early to say. As I said, I just arrived in San Francisco and I'm exploring it for the very first time with you. So be ready to explore. Stephanie asked me how long I will be in San Francisco. Until tonight, actually. I am not staying in the city here in California. I'm staying in a rural area about 2 hours away from the city. So, ooh, this is an interesting question. I wonder if there are good bicycle trails in San Francisco. I don't know about trails, but about bike paths, bike lanes in the city. There's plenty. I was very surprised to see how many bike lanes there are, because relatively to the geography of the city, it's it's surprising to me to see that there are so many bike paths, because truly the slopes are extremely steep here. Like sometimes I feel like I'm going up 45 degrees. I think I am more or less at the beginning of Haight Street. Thanks again, Stephanie, for sending me the tip about the pronunciation so that now I can remember the name. Otherwise I would have already forgotten. So, fun fact, I've seen many bike paths, many bike lanes in the city here in San Francisco, but I haven't seen many cyclists using them. And keep in mind that I've just driven around a few neighborhoods of the city, a few areas, so I might have ended up in those areas that are less popular for cyclists simply, but I haven't seen many really. Stephanie, yes, message me on Patreon. Maybe we can arrange a meetup in real life finally. I would love that. Greta, San Francisco is famous for contemporary art galleries. Ah, the wind! Do not miss the art scene there. Ooh, it smells wonderful here. Latin American food, I guess. Okay, I'm gonna cross the street in a moment. So, one of the first things that I noticed of San Francisco, of San Francisco, is that it's really cold. And I knew that San Francisco in particular has a microclimate and that it's colder than everything that is around it. Also, of course, I'm aware that this is not LA, San Diego, California, like southern part of California. It's in the north, and California is very long. It probably doesn't look like that long in the map. Did I miss the red light? I think I missed the green light while talking to you, I'm sorry. But it's really quite cold here. And people seem to be quite used to it because they're not dressed so heavily. But this morning I left home, like now it's in the middle of the day so it's warmer, but this morning I left home with so many layers, like 2 sweaters on top of each other, 2 jackets. It was kind of funny. You've heard a famous quote by Mark Twain: the coldest winter I ever spent was the summer I spent in San Francisco. No, this is absolutely new. I never heard of it. But that's quite funny. I've looked at some statistics and I've seen that even the winters in San Francisco are pretty much the same as the summer, like a little bit colder, but not that much. So I guess that's truly what I wouldn't want to have from the place where I live, because as many of you know, I love the seasons. I really need that shift from summer to winter. Poco Travel, always a joy to see you walk in live stream. From you offer an original perspective each time. Thank you very much, Poco Travel. That's very nice to hear. Hi, Rebel County from Ireland. September and October are the best weather months in San Francisco. Why is that? I might ask. Because I would say in New York City the best months are May and October. Yeah, definitely May and October. Could be extended to April and November. Hi Francisco from Brazil. Guybrush is the warmest months. Oh wow, so September, October, so I guess the spring is really cold, huh? Oh, what's that? Oh my god, I think this is like some kind of tourist activity. Oh, look at this. Those cars are laying. So I don't know if you can tell so far, but one impression is that it's very I guess this is one of those famous used shops. Vintage, designer, modern. Should I go in for a second? You know, now we can go in without masks here and there. Okay, as soon as you get away from the wind, it gets very, very warm. I'm kind of sweating now. That looked very fancy, and also I don't know if the atmosphere of the place was captured in the video, but like the ambience, the music was very, I don't know, it felt very fancy, but in a good way. Like I felt very good being in there. Whatever. Oh God. Now it's hot. What is happening? Someone said it looks like being in a movie with all the architectures. I agree. I mean, I guess, okay, let's be honest here. New York City truly looks like being in a movie, because I think simply so many movies were shot in New York City, and movies that became very famous, they were highly marketed, and we've all seen them. So yeah, I think that's why. Here we have a Tibetan gift corner. Looks very picturesque. Scotty.
I'm gonna take a picture of me so you can send it to Hugo, okay? Me and Hugo, we get along real good.
Okay, some people walking very slow, but I was telling you about the vibe that I get walking on streets here in San Francisco. That I've noticed also in another area, but especially here, it's very, very chill and very kind of happy. It feels like being in a wonderland city. Okay, maybe this has a little bit to do with that. Let's go in here 1 second. Hello, hi. Ooh, look at that. It smells like paint in here. That's something I cannot show you in video. It smells like paint and old paper. Let's see what we have here. Oh my god. There's some furry selection of fabrics. Wow, can I say that I love this shop? I entered super randomly. It's very quiet in here, so I feel embarrassed talking loud. Okay, so maybe we should talk a little bit about the hippie movement, because this neighborhood is famous for being the place where the hippie movement originated, and it's still quite strong nowadays. And of course I entered super randomly in this shop, but you can see that it really has any type of material or equipment for you to create something, like some crafts or anything really. And I was talking with my host from here, California, the other day about the hippie movement and how he asked me how it's perceived in Italy and stuff like that, and he told me that he appreciates aspect of the hippie movement, especially the fact that it brought out creativity. It valued creativity a lot, and it brought it out from the people. And yeah, so I'm just sharing this with you. This kind of shop really makes me think about that comment that he made.
I know for sure, I know in the next few days.
Okay, wow, it gets warm. Here's another shop. Just one second.
Jimmy. More of those headbands. Well, now they're a little different. But I do have white headbands.
This looks like more like a touristy kind of spot. Distractions. Don Vito. I've always wanted to visit San Francisco since watching the movie Inner Space when I was a kid. I don't know that movie, but I watched Mrs. Doubtfire, I mean, like 10 times when I was a kid. And I discovered, because someone just recently told me that it was shot here in San Francisco. It was shot, it's even like sort of a touristy attraction now. So, any thoughts about the hippie movement? I must say that myself, I don't know it that well. I studied in school, and then, you know, when I was a teenager, you always have that hippie phase where hippies are great because they promote like freedom, creativity, all that stuff. I also can hear quite a bit of music around, which I have to be careful because I don't want my video to get, you know, copyrighted for background music. But can you feel the vibe? I don't know if it gets through in video. As if everyone was light-hearted. But it's maybe really probably just the specific neighborhood. I wonder what they're doing here. Oh, they're packing up. There's art. Should I stay or should I go play? The Clash. Did Vicious used to live here as well? Oh, I'm getting some comments about hippie movement. Yep, Stefan, it was the hippie culture that spawned the pro-environment movement, including the establishment of Earth Day in 1970. I didn't know about that. I actually know quite little about Earth Day in general, but I see that it's quite celebrated here in the US, so that's nice. Thought they were mocked by many as tree huggers. Hippies culture led to the philosophy of taking care of Earth through recycling, organic food, vegetarianism, and forest preservation. Yeah, it's very interesting that these people used to be mocked and are still mocked nowadays. I mean, I sometimes I get some comments on my videos by viewers that about, I don't know, hippies, like negative comments, mockery, and I'm a bit confused by that, because especially nowadays I think it certainly had negative sides, like anything. Like we have the proof that they were right, no? And they were really pushing for preservation of the land, of the environment. Time for a kiss. Hi. California. I still don't know. I don't know. Sorry, I cannot answer about that. David, the hippie movement declined in San Francisco due to the use of harder and harder drugs. Yes, one of the negative sides, at least for me. I'm not pro-drugs. The hippies then either moved out to the countryside or went to India. Hi Jorge, nice to see you here. Live streaming of buffering. I'm sorry, this is San Francisco, technology. Internet connection. Make love, not war is a well-known. I mean, they're sort of a modern hippie. What do you think? Without even knowing about it. Ciao Chiara! Yul! Mandy! Hippies was socialist movement, anti-establishment. Okay. But socialist and anti-establishment doesn't really go very well together. But maybe I guess you meant more like socially involved, like very much focused on social issues. These slopes are nothing. I wish I could show you some of the real steep slopes that are here. They're crazy. Magnolia Brewing? What? They brew beer here? Oh my god. I wish I had some company to come here and have a beer. See? Creativity, color. It's a very colorful neighborhood. I love that. I love color in general. Okay. Welcome. Yeah. Anti-capitalism, that's exactly, I think, what the other person meant with the comment. Stephanie, are you familiar with the Grateful Dead band MJ? Well, it's, I guess, the most famous band that came from San Francisco, right? So are you still able to follow the live stream? Because my app is telling me that the internet connection is unstable at the moment. Do you feel an instant connection while traveling? I mean, it depends. Okay, I think I again weak connection. I think I arrived to Buena Vista Park. So hopefully there's gonna be a better reception there since it's up on a hill. Or it might be the opposite. I guess we're about to find out. Ini kuma chiesa di Jefferson Airplane parlase. O Samba do Friuli. So, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this neighborhood has the homes of so many famous musicians from the late 60s and 70s, like Jimi Hendrix. His house is somewhere on this street here, the street that we just walked. Has two houses here. Jefferson Airplane, the Grateful Dead came from this neighborhood. That's it, but I don't really know the addresses because, as I told you, it's my first time here, so I couldn't show them to you. Sorry about that. I hate those weak connection signals anytime I stream. I am very sorry about that. How is the connection now? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Is it still staying unstable? San Francisco has become the #1 most expensive place to live. I've heard about that. I haven't bought anything here yet, but later I will grab some lunch for sure, and I will see how the prices are. I especially want to compare them to the ones in Manhattan because, you know, Manhattan. Going up this slope. It's fine now. Thanks, Stephanie, for the update. I'm an American in Sicily watching an Italian in California. Hi, Martin. That's really funny. Ciao, Rob, dall'Italia. Ciao, Enrico da Roma. Okay, I think the connection has become more stable now. So, Stephanie, what can you tell us about Buena Vista Park? Because I don't know much about it. I didn't even read about it before coming here. So we're getting my first impressions. So far, I would say it's really pretty. Like the vegetation, really pretty. Well done. Let me flip the here. Guess I'll go that direction. Ciao Conegliano! Ciao FM! Ciao! Hi Zagreb, Croatia! Bye Adventures with Carl! Good night if you're in Europe. These have an Avalon. There were people everywhere with flowers in their hair. I think this might be red oaks. No, red oaks? Redwoods, sorry. I got to know only these two species of native trees from this area of California. One is redwood and one is the black oak, which is a very pretty tree because it's all curvy, and it's as if someone had drawn it. So I want you to middle of a neighborhood that is not really that far from the city center of San Francisco here. There's a wonderful going through trees. Oh my god, this is so pretty. In the semi-shade of the trees with this amazing sound that the wind is making, wiggling back and forth to the wind. So much green. I hear the birds singing also. Celsius, 65 Fahrenheit. Okay, gotta give me a second. I screwed this on my gimbal so that I can put it down for a moment and take off some clothes because now it's getting too warm for me. How's the internet connection going? You know, there are certain things about America that raise my expectations a lot. And then I must say that when these expectations are not met, it's quite disappointing. Like San Francisco is so famous for tech companies and industries, and this is the place where the internet was invented and stuff like that. So you would imagine, oh, the internet infrastructure must be spot on, like the best you can imagine, or almost the best. And it turns out that no, it's really not. Okay, let's keep going up. There's so much wind, I don't even know how the audio is turning out, honestly. Here, or maybe there. Everything is so pretty. Okay, that direction. Oh, Salvador Friul! Thank you for the super chat. Italian homemade company, Ristorante Bene in San Francisco. Are you in San Francisco? Wow. This feels like I don't know, somewhere out in the mountains. And there is sand. Look at this. It's like sand. I might be at the beach. Rich, thanks for the suggestion for lunch. The problem is that after I finish this live stream, I'm not going to be able to access the chat, the live chat, for a while, and also not so easily. So it would be great if you could send me the suggestion, maybe via email, mj@watershaymaryjane.com, or via Instagram DMs. I'm gonna make sure to remember to read. I don't know if you can tell, but there are many little paths there in this wooded area in the forest. So I can imagine if I were living here. Oh my god, to have this park inside the city. And honestly, I don't think this is such a famous park. For example, there is this one very famous park of San Francisco we've mentioned is the Golden Gate Park, which is exactly there, closer to where I started this live stream. And then the other very famous park is Golden Gate Bridge, that is very big too, and it's also very wooded like this. I drove through it. I haven't been hiking there, unfortunately, but it looked very beautiful as well. Oh my god, we're starting to see something. I stopped some of your comments. Be patient, please. This is why they call this Buena Vista Park. Okay, I'm gonna sit down here. Lots of parks in San Francisco, just like New York. I wouldn't really say that New York has a lot of parks, or better. New York does have a lot of parks on paper. If you look at Google Maps, for example, there you will see many tiny green spots in the map of New York, but the truth is that if you then go to these parks, you realize that they're not really very pleasant to hang out. Or maybe they are, but they're not very natural. They're very, much constructed by men, and of course all parks are constructed by men. This is not what I'm talking about, but for example, this park, let's take it as an example. So look at this. You see, this is, I guess it's the natural type of ground that there is here, and they left it like this. In New York, they would have paved it. They would have put asphalt on the main paths of this park. They would have put fences, like metal fences and railings, and probably street lamps also for the night. You know what I mean? Like, who has visited either New York or San Francisco? Let me know how you perceive the parks in these two cities. In the meantime, there is so much wind. I have no idea if you are able to hear me properly. Let me know how the audio is doing. Marco, I haven't seen the phenomenon of red sky in China, no. Elise, ciao carissima, thank you for the super chat. Very much appreciated, grazie. Hello Ralph, and thanks for reminding everyone to like, subscribe and share. Especially, you know, give just a little like to this live stream so that so that it gains visibility on the platform. Rich says, keep an eye out for coyotes. Yeah, I've heard there are coyotes here, but can you believe me that if I tell you that I have no idea how a coyote looks like? I think they're mammal animals, at least that. Are they mammal animals? Yeah, I don't think they're reptiles or anything, right? I'm sorry, we don't have coyotes in Europe. So I should maybe Google image coyote so that if I see one, I could recognize it. And then what should I do if I find one? Are they dangerous? Let me know. Stephanie, you make a good point, MJ. I was pleasantly surprised by the number of parks in New York. I think Prospect Park is mostly natural. Yes, you're very much right. So in New York, I would say Central Park, Prospect Park, oh my god, what is it called, the park in Queens? I'm forgetting names of very common places in New York. I'm sorry about that. There are a few, like I would say maximum 5 big parks. And let's not mention Staten Island, because Staten Island is surprisingly the borough of New York City with most parks, or at least based on my experience of it. I was really surprised. If you haven't checked out my Staten Island vlog, you should. I made a very long bike tour along the entire Staten Island. This was a year and a half ago, probably in the summer, and it was so surprising because Staten Island really doesn't get much attention, and you can understand why, because it's not very well taken care of. But the parks there, oh my god, they are the best I've seen in New York, hands down. Yeah. So even Central Park is very pretty, very beautiful, sort of pleasant to hang out in, but it's so crowded. It's just too crowded, and there is a very big percentage of the park that is just asphalted. It's literally asphalted, and not just the few roads for the cars to pass through it, but also the paths for people to walk. Like, why would you want to walk on asphalt if you are going to the park? I don't know, this is something that I don't really get as a decision to pave so much of the paths. I prefer much more how the paths are in this park. You see, it's just loose sand. you can see the roots of the trees coming out to the surface. That's what I look in a park. Yeah. Stephanie, thanks for putting the link to my Staten Island video. It's a really good one. It's a bit long. I think it's half an hour or something like that, but it's really nice. Rich Hagi. Please let me know how to pronounce your surname. Thank you very much for your super chat. I appreciate it. David, there are many coyotes where I live. And where you live, let's say it's Olympic Peninsula. David is one of my patrons, so we know each other. He lives in the Olympic Peninsula in the Washington State. Ciao dall'Italia. I will try to translate this. Please write the comments in English if you can, so that I don't have to translate on the go. Your comparison between the two cities is correct. Oh, I used to live very close to Buena Vista Park in the 70s. Have a good day. Wow, it must have been a very interesting place to live, this one in the 70s. So great to hear. Hi Tariq, hello. Okay, let me show you some more of this view and we'll keep walking. Also because I don't have my sweater on, it's getting cold. There is more view on this side, you know, it's CA2. Yes, in the 70s it was a very different place. We are all very interested to hear some testimonianze of the 70s in San Francisco. Okay, I can't even describe you the smell that these flowers have. It's really good. Oh my god. I'm gonna get some mosquitoes in my in my nose if I continue like this. You know, it reminds me of the smell of certain flowers that my grandma had in the garden. Of course, it was not these flowers though. Look, you see so many wildflowers. New York parks are full of flowers, but they're all planted. And not, I mean, these are probably planted too, but in New York they're planted seasonally. Like every season they change them and they make them look very, very pretty, but also a little bit unnatural. Like you can tell that they have been recently planted by people. Ooh, what do I see here? Look at that. Oh my god. Finally I can see a picture of a coyote. It looks like a wolf, right? Okay, this shows also, I think, quite a bit of difference from the East Coast. Although don't get me wrong, people in general in the US are pretty respectful of wildlife. Of course, I guess around the world we have the idea of Americans and animals, like it comes out from the intensive farming type of places for animals. So we're not talking about that now. I'm talking about the relationship that they have with wild animals. It's way more respectful than we have in Europe, I would say. And so also in the East Coast, they are quite respectful of all the wild animals, the deers that there are around, and I would just say that this goes even one step further than that. I mean, because they are wild animals, they should be treated with appropriate respect. New Yorkers wouldn't put an advisory like this one. Let's just say that. Can you hear the birds chirping? Look at this. Someone has made something here. Vijay! Thank you for the super chat. Gotta go. Hope you have a wonderful time in the city. Would have loved to meet and chat as I love your videos. Keep up the great work. Ciao. Ciao Vijay. Thanks for joining. We have another MJ in the chat from Bergamo. Yeah, this is one thing. Sorry, I'm not talking, but I'm scared of dogs, and that dog is not on the leash. That's one thing I don't like, because he's not a coyote. Okay, sorry for not talking much, but I got really scared by the dog accident. And there is a lot of people here, so I'm gonna whisper. I hope you don't mind. You're ready for the best view? You ready? You can also see San Francisco Bay there. So about San Francisco Bay, I didn't know much about it. I still don't know much, but I drove through it. I came into San Francisco and I didn't drive through the Golden Gate Bridge, probably because it was too traffic at the time. So Google Maps sent me simply to another bridge, like a way longer road, but I passed this, I don't know if it's called Bay Bridge or something like that. I don't know, try to Google it. It was one of the best bridges I've been to. It's very long and it goes along the whole Bay of San Francisco. And oh my God, sorry, I feel so much happier than in New York here. Can I say? I just feel so much better. Oh my God. Okay, let me read some of your comments. Bay Bridge, Stephanie, yes. So check out, Google pictures of Bay Bridge in San Francisco. You will see what I mean. I mean, I'm sure there are cooler bridges in the world like that, but to me it was pretty special. Okay. You have to see the lights on the Bay Bridge at night, says Rich. I wish I can. I wish I will. I wish I will happen to be there at night. So, Soada says, while in San Francisco, you should check out the hair salons. They're quite famous and give good haircuts and hair coloring. I don't know if this is a suggestion about, you know, getting a haircut and color my gray hair. I will not color my gray hair, but I would actually like to get a haircut. And usually, if you followed my channel for long enough, you know that I cut my hair myself usually. The result is very mediocre and quite ugly at times, but you know, they are so long that it really doesn't need, I don't know. If I had to find, would I be able to find a place that does a haircut for like $20? If I would find a place like that and I liked it, I could even consider getting a haircut in a salon for the first time in probably 15 years. Hope you have plans to visit and eat on a San Francisco's Little Italy and give a review. I should poll my audience on that. How much would you think it would be appreciated, a video about Little Italy in San Francisco? Which is, what is the neighborhood named? We were mentioning it at the beginning of this live stream, the neighborhood that is Little Italy here. Hike the marine headlands, spectacular view looking back into the city. I know Marin County. I know where's Marin County. Go to the Mission District. Richard Luna. Actually, I selected these two neighborhoods for today's live stream. One would have been the Mission and the other one, this one. I picked this one at the end, but yeah, the Mission was also in my list. North Beach, yeah, thank you. Ralph, how long have you been in San Francisco? 3 hours, I think. Oh, Rich, you grew up in the Mission. Tell us more about that. So the Mission is, I can just say that it's a colorful neighborhood. It's not super in the city center. It's a little bit, you know, outside of the very crowded city center. Can you say city center in English about a city? I mean touristy part. Sorry if I missed some comments, but you know, for a while I wasn't reading and now I'm trying to scroll back. But there are so many. Oh, if there's a coyote around, it will go for the dog, so you will be safe. Good to know. I don't have much passion for dogs, I'm sorry. Yeah, Stephanie, we say downtown. I know that you say downtown to say city center, but downtown is usually a specific neighborhood of each city, right? For example, even here in San Francisco, if I type downtown in Google Maps, it will give me a very small area. Consider eating at Baonecci in Little Italy. Thanks for these suggestions. I would love if you send me an email with them, because this live chat, you know, it's so full of so many things, and after the live stream I would not be able to find this suggestion back again. So I would really appreciate if you send me just a quick email, mj@watershaymaryjane.com, and tell me where I should go. Robert, the view from Dolores Park is spectacular. Dolores Park is in the Mission neighborhood. Yeah, again, it would have been the other option for today's live stream. Il Cesaro in North Beach. Again, send me an email with all the suggestions. City center is a good term. We also use in the US in the city's hub. Yes, exactly. How many of you have never been to San Francisco? And I would like to know, if you've never been to San Francisco, what do you know about it? Like, what's the first image that comes to my mind? And while you type, I will tell you mine. So for me, San Francisco was Lombard Street, which I just discovered yesterday evening, that is called Lombard Street. It's that street that goes all zigzag on a steep slope. I don't know why, that was really one of the few images that I had of San Francisco. Of course, also those townhouses on slopes that I showed you at the beginning of this live stream. Oh, Chris, the tram. Yeah, the tram is also something characteristic here, but I didn't know much about it, so I just seen it today, you know, while driving. V7 Evelyn, I lived in California for 20 years and never went to San Francisco. Well, you're not the only one, and if you really pay attention to distances, you will realize that California is extremely long. Like, it's very big state. So yeah, I'm not that surprised about it. I cannot believe that I'm laying down on the grass in the park. Why can't I do this in New York? Oh my God. Ellen, biggest Chinatown in the US. Very well observed. I actually, after I sort of moved to New York City, started living in New York City, I started to get information about the history of Chinese Americans in New York. I actually have 4 little videos that I made like probably 3 years ago about the history of Chinese Americans in the US. And that's how I discovered that San Francisco has been the biggest hub for Chinese back in the days. And so this Chinatown in San Francisco is definitely the most important one in the US. Foggy town, says Ellen. Well, that's something I discovered coming here the other day for the first time also. And it was explained to me that the reason is that the cold air, oh my God, I don't even remember now. It's something about the cold air from the ocean, I think. But yes, it can be very foggy, and I don't know how many of you have checked out my Instagram stories from the other day. I showed you the Golden Gate Bridge completely immersed in fog because that's how I saw it for the first time. And yeah, it was really fun, I think. Ellen also says hyper-tolerant city. Yes, it is, as far as I can see. The problem with that is that it's also very tolerant of homelessness and, you know, disgraces that some people might experience in their lives. And I don't know if it's good, if there should be a limit to tolerance. I think maybe there should. You should not tolerate that there are injustice in the society. And I think not being able to have a house, a stable job, having a depression or an addiction or mental problems and not be taken care of, that's an injustice. Good seafood, says Alan also. That's good to know. I would like to try it, although I'm sure it's gonna be extremely expensive. Google City, yeah, I guess. Cool people, big gay community. Didn't know about that, especially coming from New York. I thought we had the very big gay community. I mean, we probably do, but expensive city, yeah, that I knew as well. David says California is larger than Italy, isn't it? I don't know. Can someone check on Google and let us know? Oh, Jesus. Okay, see, for example, like, I don't know if it... Okay. I'm very nervous now. I might leave this part of the park because there are dogs. See, again, tolerance. People tolerate here that dogs are not kept on the leash in public spaces. I'm not as tolerant as people from San Francisco, I guess. Let me go scroll back because there were... Okay, many of you answered trolleys were like the typical thing of San Francisco. Mir says homelessness, crime, income inequality, and bad traffic. Oh wow, that's very negative comment. I wish you would have balanced out the negatives with some positives as well. But I would say after the Lombard Street, probably the second thing I knew about San Francisco. No, the second thing would be that it's all technologies came from here, Google City, but also that the homelessness is a huge problem here. There are many homeless, and I've seen them coming here, like driving earlier, even if I didn't see such a big part of the city, but I've gone through parts that were where there were people.
Papa, pass, please. No!
How nice is this scene in front of me? Marco asks Lombard Street, why this name? Lombard Street is actually only the name of this whole street, which is very long, and that famous part is just a little stretch of it. I don't know why the full street is called Lombard Street. It's probably, I don't know, some Italian influence there. So V7 Avalon, speaking of hippies, says that now he lives in Colorado, where a lot of hippies moved to in the early 70s. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna move because I'm right in the middle of their playing space.
For me, it's my opinion. I want you to throw it here. You're making me so
Okay. The two kids are fighting. Robert wrote, has anyone told you about the $900 law in California? Oh my god, I lost the comment. Okay, anyone can steal up to that amount and nothing will happen to them. This sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Wow, that's impressive. Okay, good to know. But I've heard that in New York also a law has been passed like a few months ago that it was said that it incentivize, oh my god, I couldn't think of the word, incentivize crime. So I don't know what's the matter with that. Andrea says, I thought that San Francisco is cool in this period. You mean cool in temperature wise? It is. Like, this is the middle of the day and I'm underneath the sun, that's why I'm wearing a t-shirt, but I was wearing 2 sweaters and 2 jackets this morning.
Give it to me.
Alan, are you scared of dogs? Yes, I am. David, Italy is 75% the size of California. Oh my god. That is really surprising. Very happy you guys told me about this. Wow, California is much bigger than Italy. Good to know. Alex, did you have an incident with the dog? No, I did not. Oh, Stephanie, okay, in reference to the law that we just talked about, let me put the phone in charge so that I don't have to worry about it, as I usually do towards the end of the live streams. 1 second, I brought the power bank this time. Yeah, sorry, Dog Chaos. Well, you created the chaos, though. Okay. Sorry for the interruption. I'm just turning this on. Okay, we are charging. Sorry. So I want to find again a message that Stephanie wrote. Sorry, I have to scroll, like it's hard to scroll. Yes, there it is. So Stephanie wrote in reference to the law that we were talking about earlier, about the fact that someone can steal up to almost $1,000 and nothing will happen to them here in California. Stephanie writes, we do not have nearly enough law enforcement. We need more police. And that would be the reason for this law. And I really wanted to address this because I don't think this is a sensical way of reasoning. If you have too much crime, the solution is not to have more police. I mean, I hear this way too often. That's why I'm addressing this publicly. And I don't understand why. If you have too much crime, you should improve services, you should improve education, you should improve schools, you should improve the livability of places so that people are not willing to go and commit crimes and damage their own future life because they committed a crime. So, I mean, what do you solve if you put more people in jail? Really, to me, you solve nothing, because more and more criminals will be created after them, because jails just create a bad environment in societies. Like what kind of a life is the one of a person who did not succeed at having a happy life and went out to damage other people and then was locked in a jail? And then very often these people, I mean, it's proven, look at the statistics. Very often these people stay like 10 years in jail, they get released, and then they go back committing crimes, and then they go back in jail. I mean, it's such a system that doesn't work. And I don't understand why we still talk about police enforcement and stuff like that. Education, more education, better schools, better public schools, not private ones. That's what we need, I think. Happier citizens, less crime. Okay, let me scroll back because you sent me so many comments and I've seen some interesting ones. J Fox about dog tolerance. This dog's tolerance is not limited to San Francisco. I live in Southern California and you can see off-leash dogs as well. Yeah, so about dogs in US cities, I have so much to say. And I'm realizing that more and more people around me think the same way about dogs in cities. That is sad to see so many dogs kept in small apartments and that pee and poop on the streets. So yeah, that's one thing that surprises me about the US. So many dogs in cities. Like, dogs are supposed to have open spaces to run and pee and do their own business and mark the territory. Why would you keep so many dogs in cities, in apartments? I really don't understand. And also the tolerance that Americans have for dogs who pee on the sidewalks, but not for people who do the same thing, for example. Yeah, I don't know. Ellen, do you see more poverty in the US or in Italy? Oh, very easy answer. In the US. Far more. I do not see much poverty in Italy, and this might be because I have a restrictive view, I have a very limited experience, I don't know. I've traveled all over Italy, I can assure you of that. Like Piedmont to Sicily, Sardinia to Marche. I've never seen so much poverty. Like, there are certainly people that have more and people that live just with very limited amount of money each month, but in the US you truly see poverty, like people that are completely poor. And this really surprises me because US is obviously not a third world country, and I see situations that I would just expect to see in a third world country here, and they're really not very rare to find. Like, you truly see them everywhere, literally everywhere, inside the cities, outside of the cities, in different neighborhoods and so on. Sorry, I'm scrolling back. I'm doing this on the screen. You cannot see it. Oh, V7 Avalon Road. San Francisco is the original home of Levi's Jean Company. Co stays for company, I think, where they made jeans from canvas sheep sales during the 1849 gold rush. Wow, that is so interesting. I mean, Levi's jeans are really probably the most popular in the world. And I guess they are probably one of the first companies to produce them, if not the first company that commercialized them, most likely. 1849 gold rush. That is a very old time. You know, fun fact, in Italy, jeans have been considered until 20, 30 years ago as a very modern kind of fabric. I mean, denim. So to think that in the US they have existed since 1849, at least, that is surprising. Hi, Gregory from Seattle. Oh, in the meantime, I'm getting some of your emails about suggestions. I look forward to read them after this live stream. Big Shooter asked me to visit Chicago next. I would love to visit Chicago, actually. Gaetano says, "Che bel sole che c'è." What a beautiful sun there is there. Yes, I agree. I'm enjoying it very much. I was actually a bit worried the past couple of days because I stayed in the sun and I didn't wear any sunscreen, but it turns out I didn't burn, so that's good. Don Vito asks, where do you prefer, New York or California? Well, this is a very hard question. Okay, let's say this. If I could decide where to live, whether New York or California, if I had to pick one of the two places to live, I would probably say California. and I say probably just because I've been here for like 5 days, so I don't know it that well yet. But in 5 days, what I've seen is that I definitely would prefer California. Because they have a more chilled lifestyle mainly, and also a better relationship with the environment. And okay, very important for me is better food in terms of produce, like better produce. Veggies and fruit here actually taste amazing, comparable to Italy quality wise, which is really not the case in New York. So that's my answer. But still, I don't know. New York is truly fascinating place because of the culture that there is there. I don't know. I don't know. I would still appreciate New York in certain ways. Okay, back to the law on theft matter. UAE Emirates wrote, MJ, you're so sweet, LOL, but it doesn't work for US. Liberals wanted to defund police in California, so thieves now, even if they rob stores, nothing will happen. So crime went up 8 times in 3 years in San Francisco. Dear UAE Emirates, you are not so sweet, but you didn't get my comment at all, like 0. You just repeated what I started my point with, that there is less people, and apparently you are mad to liberals, I guess, because they defunded police. And I just think that defunding police is not a true goal, or should not be a true goal. The goal should be, although I'm agree with defunding police, because I would agree with just lowering the amount of police, which is ridiculous in the United States. Honestly, I've never seen so much police in a country before I came here. Which means that you have a problem of like services and education. If the crime is high in a country, it means that people, like, there is some unwell-being in the society. So rather than working on punishment, you should work on preventing the problem of crime. No? So I'm all for like defunding police, but as a consequence of a diminishment of crime rates. So I'm with you on that point, that crime should be diminished first, and then you cut down on police, which is a very good thing. The less police you have, the better your country will be. But, you know, in order to lower the crime, you should work from the top of the problem. You know, you should prevent the problem and not just put patches on it that will eventually just come off. Sorry, I'm doing this because I'm using this app that puts, I have all the live chat going here, scrolling, and it's white text on whatever background there is, and the background here sometimes is a little bit too clear, too bright, sorry. So if I do this, yes, the sky gets a little bit darker. Scrolling back. I hope I'm not annoying you with all this scrolling back. Stephanie, very correct observation in my opinion. Prisons are big business and therefore corrupt. To explain this to non-American friends, you have to know that prisons in the US are private. So, I repeat, prisons, jails are privately owned in the US. I was completely shocked when I found out this, as probably some of you right now are. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I need to comment more on that, or probably I should, because this is a well-accepted system in the US. To me, this is absolutely not acceptable. Yeah, Richard said that the weather is good in California. That is why there are so many homeless there. Yes. But the fact that there are so many homeless in American cities, that is the real problem, isn't it? Maybe we could do something about it. Maybe we could, put some public funding towards taking care of them. I mean, these people could literally be your son or your ex-neighbor. Anyone could have, some mental health problems that at a certain point in their life, they just come out. Ellen wrote, individually society and world equals non-happy people equals violence. That is the problem, Mary Jane. Well, I think I agree with you, Ellen. Francesco Benetti also agrees with the fact that poverty is very much more visible in the US. CA, thanks for your dinner suggestions. Oof, some very strong comment here by Dharma Chile 999. America is a third world country wearing a Gucci belt. Yep. I wish I could add anything to this, but I cannot. That's perfectly explained, unfortunately. Sorry, in the meantime, let me show you the dogs playing.
His mom was 35 pounds. The dad was 9, and he is 40 pounds right now.
Okay, I'll answer to a question that gets me asked quite a bit, that maybe is not clear from my channel, that I missed now. Jesus. Okay, someone was asking me what brings you to the US. Everything I see from your videos in Italy is so much better than in the US. Yes, you see that because that's my perspective, by the way. So when you watch something, always remember that that is the perspective of the person who made that video. You know, there are many people in Italy who dream of living in the US, and therefore maybe if they had to make a video and you had to watch it, you would get a different impression. So just keep that in mind. I live in the US just because my husband lives in the US, and I want to be close to my husband, and I have a job that is online, so I can move wherever I want. He doesn't have a job that is online. He has his own business that unfortunately is very much, he owns a restaurant, so he cannot move the restaurant around. So that's really the one and only reason why I live in the US. Oh, Matt Mancuso, I found your comment. Whoa, we are 120 viewers now. Hello everyone, where were you the first hours of this live stream? I thought because of the time zone, you know, this live stream was very late in Europe, so I thought maybe people are not going to connect, but apparently many Americans are. M-Bus, interesting comment. I wonder if American police can close an eye when you make something wrong, like the Italian way. That is truly the Italian way. I talk about this sometimes about like parking tickets, for example, in New York. Even if you leave the car parked in a wrong spot for just 5 minutes because you just have to go inside that shop and get something, you know, you will find the ticket. Like if you're unlucky and the policeman pass by in that moment, in those 5 minutes, you will get a ticket. In Italy, it's really not that like that. Usually when policemen find a, you know, out of the law case with the car, they will wait next to the car for 5 minutes to see if the person will come back. Yeah, so there is a little bit of wiggle space. What am I talking about? How is it called? There's a little bit of margin. Yeah, Charles M. brought the racial problem to the conversation, which is also very, very much on point. And he wrote, the excessive amount of police are needed because they are the enforcement arm of white supremacy. So I don't know how much non-Americans are acquainted with this kind of terminology. I was not before moving to the US. White supremacy means simply that the white people are more privileged than any other race, and therefore they show their power on the other races in ways that are not, they're either very evident or they are maybe less direct. And police is said to be very, like, run by white people here. Sorry, I'm not explaining this very properly, but I also don't know very much about. Okay. There were two dogs kissing. It was kind of a cute scene. I wish I could have shown you. Yeah, I don't know very much about this topic. I mean, I'm still learning. So, yeah, I just wanted to capture some attention on that topic, since we were talking about police. Um, okay, so many comments. Sorry. Ellen, you seem to have socialist values which are in contradiction with the US system and way of living. I think I definitely have socialist values. I don't really think I fit into any politic view specifically. I wouldn't call myself a socialist for sure. I just, you know, yeah, but I do believe in equal rights for everyone rather than in freedom for every individual. Like I prefer to have a more collective type of society rather than a individualistic one, for sure. Jan says that white supremacy does not exist, that it is a narrative used by the US Democratic Party and the MSM to divide and conquer the people. James, a lot of conservatives in this chat. Is it? Do I attract conservatives? I would love that actually, because I'm really the opposite of a conservative, I think. But I prefer to have people online that challenge me and contradict me rather than only people that say, oh yes, you're right, I agree with 100% with what you say. I think confrontation is very positive, so welcome conservatives in this chat. Richard Luna, ooh, another good point. Did you know the land you are on was stolen from Mexico? Look, Richard, I know that the land I'm on was stolen from indigenous people who have lived here for who knows how many years before stupid, rebellious Europeans came and just treated them like shit. So, but you are obviously talking about another issue, so please tell me, because no, I think I've heard of this, that at least part of California was stolen from Mexico. I would like to know more about it. Well, I love how active this chat is. I feel like I cannot catch up though. Let me know, should I walk a little bit more, change spot, give some dynamism to this live stream, or should I stay here and keep answering your comments? Vote, go, comment, tell me what I should do. Okay, this is so interesting. Romatsec75 wrote, I've noticed that a lot of people in the chats of walking streamers tend to lean more on the conservative side of things. That is a very acute observation. And yeah, I never realized I could be labeled as a walking streamer, but I guess I am. That's very interesting, because sometimes I imagine who would watch my live streams. Like, who is that person that, rather than being outside and exploring the world, prefers to sit in the comfort of their couch at home through the eyes of someone else. Would that person be more of a conservative person or more of a progressive person? I think maybe it fits, like the profile fits more with the conservative person, but maybe I'm just talking bullshit and this doesn't make any sense. So take it with a grain of salt. CA2, California and the lower SW states were purchased from France, Spain and Mexico, not stolen. Read your history. I don't believe it. Well, you know, CA, I don't really know this history, but I know, for example, the history of Manhattan. And Manhattan was also purchased by a Dutch from the indigenous people who were the Lenape tribe. Unfortunately, though, the price to which that land has been purchased was ridiculous, and the Lenape didn't realize that. So, I mean, if you buy an entire island for $1, are you really making a purchase that is respectful towards the people involved in that purchase? I mean, sure, you're playing by the law, in theory, like formally. What do you think by that? About that? Time for a kiss. Thanks for the super chat. Sorry, I'm still whispering, but I'm here. I'm surrounded by people, really, and I don't want to disturb anyone who comes, obviously, to the park to relax and chill and be quiet. In the meantime, let me see if any one of you told me to walk more, because I'm standing here all the time. Maybe it is boring. Okay, nobody told me what to do. Sorry. But Time for Kiss asked, have you or your friends seen the Palio di Siena? I've never seen it in real life, but Palio di Siena is filmed on television every year in Italy, so we've all seen it on television for sure. I've seen it all set up I've seen Siena all set up for the Palio di Siena, but I've never seen the actual competition taking place. Ciao Anna, una romana in chat. A Roman in the chat.
You can pause your eyes anywhere in the city on that.
Oh, okay. Some people said to walk, so I'm gonna walk. I like that option. I'm getting a little bit tired of laying down. UAE Emirates says almost every land in the world is stolen from someone. In that case, France stole lands from Roman Empire. You know, I think that's a good point, but I think it's a little bit different because, you know, if you go back to the Roman Empire, that was a different level of civilization. People used to, you know, stab each other very easily back then. Like it was just, or at least in my vision, in my experience, perception of the world, of the history of humanity, we are constantly going towards, oh my god, the wind in the trees. Oh, sorry, 1 second, my gimbal just stopped collaborating. So, you know, the Romans had a different level of civilization than the people in the 16th century. So what was acceptable for Romans would not be acceptable for people in the 15th century. Does that make any sense? Time for a kiss suggests to not walk because I will lose connection. That's also a good point. Okay, sorry, I'm still reading your comments, but I think, okay, now it's time to walk. Let me put the power bank back in my backpack. And probably let me drink some water, keep hydrated. Not too much, because otherwise I need to go to the bathroom. Hello there. Look at these two. They took with themselves the little chair and they are reading. That is literally my dream activity to do.
Like, I'm not inspired by this one.
Okay, let's see where we are going now. I guess we can say goodbye to the vista though. Andres asked me about the subway in San Francisco. I haven't taken it. I'm actually driving a car here, very American of me. Look at this, a century of tree planting in Buena Vista Park. Huh, that's very interesting. They tell you a little bit of the history of the planting of the trees. So, guess we were here on the top spot and we entered from here in Haight Street, so we did all that. I guess now we will make a little whoop and go back. The famed 5,000. Thank you for the super chat. Will you consider moving to California? Absolutely not. I didn't choose spontaneously to live in the US. I would not like to live in the US. I don't really find the way of living here that much compatible with my values and my mentality, my way of thinking, my desires, my wishes for society. The only reason why I live in the US is because my husband has a restaurant in New York City, and so he has to stay there, and so I choose to stay with him. So no, California is very nice, but I wouldn't, if I could move from New York City, I would move somewhere else. Ciao. It's cold in the shade. Jesus, it's so windy you cannot imagine. Time for a kiss. Super chat. Oh my god, did you send me a super chat? I haven't seen it. If that's the case, I am sorry. I apologize. Thanks for the super chat. And is Thanksgiving food just as good as European food? Wait, I didn't. Thanksgiving food? I mean, European food is a bit generic. I would say, if you mean good European food, no. The Thanksgiving food that I tried so far, at least, was not as good as the good European food, unfortunately. Can hear it's windy. Sorry about that. James, you have to make a San Francisco versus New York City video next. Again, I should make a poll with several different video suggestions that I could make while I stay here in California. San Francisco all that much, because since I don't like living in cities very much, and I have to live in a city because of the reason that I just explained, I tend to travel to more rural areas. So is Italian food considered Mediterranean food? No, Italian food is not Mediterranean food. Or not only. Oh, look at the view here. Wait, I'll answer to that in a second. So about Italian food, maybe I should go that way? No, I will continue. About Italian food, no. Okay. Stephanie, tell us the church from the view spot. What was that? Do you know it? You know, the term Italian food is a bit tricky for us Italians because there is not really an Italian food. Italy has always been a very much divided country. It's a very new country as well. You might not believe this if you're American, so coming from a very young country, but Italy was, as a country, has been formed in the 1861 only. I repeat, 1861 is the date when Italy became officially a unified country. And it took another like 80 years until the two world wars to complete the unification of Italy as well. So Italy for centuries and centuries has always been divided into little states, little countries. We've had so many different influences by foreign nations as well, especially in the south. So it's really hard for us to talk about an Italian cuisine because we have a very regional type of cuisine. So it would be better to talk about regional cuisines in Italy. And one of the and many regional cuisines of Italy are Mediterranean. But also saying Mediterranean cuisine, it's a very broad label. You know what I mean? Like Turkish cuisine, Greek cuisine is also Mediterranean cuisine. Tunisian cuisine, Moroccan cuisine, those are all Mediterranean, but also very different than the Italian. St. Peter and Paul Church is a Roman Catholic church in San Francisco's North Beach neighborhood, which is the Little Italy of San Francisco, located at Filbert Street. Is directly across from Washington Square. Thank you very much, Stephanie, for the information. Let's keep going. Look where I'm walking here. This is like being at the beach. It's wonderful. Okay. Ooh, ooh, windy, cold. Ooh, look at that spot. I mean, would you sit below that tree and read a good book? To me, that would be a dream. Just have an afternoon off and sit there and read a book. Oh, the church was Saint Ignatius. Marilyn Monroe got married at St. Peter. Oh, okay. So it was another church. For the edit, I'm going to continue this way. This is so cool. I can choose whatever little paths. Wonderful. Truly wonderful. Look at this. Oh my god. How's the connection? Are you still with me? As soon as we get back to a sunny spot, I will stop and read your comments again. Okay, this I think is a black oak, which is a native tree of this area. If someone can confirm or deny it, please. I think I recognize it because of this beautiful kind of drawing that the branches make. Like, they are very nicely shaped. They are all wiggly. I think could be a right word in English. Look at that. Isn't it fascinating? I find it beautiful. Look at where I'm walking. Oh my god. Look, if I were living in a city like San Francisco, I definitely wouldn't miss, because spaces like this, to have them so close to the actual city, yeah, I don't know, it's very different vibes than New York. Sorry, New York. I am not saying many good things about you today. Ooh. Any marijuana around? I haven't smelled it yet, which is the opposite of New York City. In New York, you smell it everywhere. It's really a thing. Time for a kiss. I heard the #1 woman in an Italian man's life is his mom, and their girlfriends don't like this. Is this true? Yeah, that's a very picturesque way of putting it, but yeah, Italian men tend to be very I mean, not all of them, of course, but the stereotype is that they are very connected to their mothers and very submissive to their mothers too. And of course, that's a problem for their partners. Yeah, you lived near that park for 30 years before moving 10 years ago to Firenze. Wow, that's lucky you, because this is a wonderful city park, I must say. I'm very positively surprised about this. Let's keep going that way. I have to say that I'm noticing a certain way of dressing here, especially by the male population. A certain style that is quite uniform, and it's how can I describe it? It's very clean, neat, simple, almost minimalistic. Practical too. Practical but not slouchy at all. You say slouchy? Like not lazy. Very much put together. I don't know if this is the stereotype of those tech guys that people talk about. Sure where I am. I mean, I think I know where I am. Another last view before we leave the park. Buena Vista Park. You've gifted me some very good emotions today. Now it's time to leave. Okay, let's go. Woo. Look at this, so pretty and 200 likes. Thank you very much, Ralph, for supporting the like clicking. And thank you very much to all of you who clicked like and supported this live stream. And I remind you all that if you like the type of things that I talk about, if you like my personality, consider subscribing to my Patreon page. We have a very nice and constantly growing Patreon community. It's not too big, so it's small enough that I can have direct contact to each one of my patrons constantly. So if you would like to become one of my patrons, you just need to pledge whatever amount you would like to support my work with on patreon.com, and my page is patreon.com/watershadeMaryJane. I also remind you that that is my main source of income for YouTube. I don't do sponsorships for ethical reasons. How do you like these architectures, people? Oh, sorry. I wanted to use the other camera. I really like them. I find them quite pretty. Like, well, I hear some bad modern rap music here too, though. Boasting from look at this slope. I don't know if you can tell in video. It's very crooked, like it's more than 30 degrees, I think. If I had to say, I would say probably 38 degrees. Is that even possible to tell at naked eye? The audio is not in sync. Hello? Check my lips and tell me if the audio is in sync or not. Maybe try to refresh the page, Marcello, if you're having troubles with that. Ooh, fancy building here. So let's see what street I am here. See how it goes down? Okay, this is Waller. Now that I've warmed up a little, it feels very nice to be here outside. Out of sync again? Ooh, Ralph! That's a nice, that's very thoughtful of you. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms in the join Ralph in the wishes, and I wish I could gift all the moms in the chat a flower like this one. Charles, walk up to High Street. Yes, in a while I'm going back to High Street. I like how quiet this is, to be honest. Maybe it's not very good for the live stream. But this is such different vibe than in New York City. And Stephanie was saying earlier that she would compare this neighborhood pattern, which is coincidentally the place where I live. But I would say the biggest difference with New York is it's almost impossible, I would say. Here instead, it's mostly quiet. I mean, it truly feels almost like a I don't know, like a provincial town, but in a good way, like in the sense of the vibes. Look at these houses, oh my god. Not the one on the right here, white, but those other ones. There's one that looks very old. Let's go check it out. well, it's not been lived in. It's all closed. But I wished, you know, in Italy this would have been restored by keeping the facade like this, not painting it over. Whereas here I feel like by the time that somebody comes to live here, they will paint everything over and it will look more modern, more like these ones. Michael Wang, Grateful Dead house is right there. If you can give me directions by looking at Google Maps, Michael, I will go to the Grateful Dead house. I would love to. I love this color, by the way, this light blue. Look, it matches with the sky. I mean, look at the color of these corners. Look at this one. Rich, how long are you in San Francisco? Until tonight at 8 p.m. Well, I didn't want to promote Big Bus Tours USA, of course. I just wanted to show you this. I think it's so pretty, such a colorful corner. I think it makes you, I don't know, it makes you smile when you pass in front of it, right? Like even if you had to walk here. When you hit Ashbury, turn left. Let's see, is Ashbury a parallel street to Haight Street? Because now I'm on Haight. Wow. So, should I go straight? Oh, it's perpendicular. Okay, after Masonic, towards Buena Vista Park or towards Golden Gate Park? Stephanie says to go straight, which is opposite to what the others are telling me. I just need to know if Ashbury is the parallel this way to Masonic or this way to Masonic. Don Vito, another movie, wait. Another movie I love, which is set in San Francisco, is Big Trouble in Little China. I watched that movie. That is by that martial art guy. How is he called? It's something similar to Action Kid, because I used to confuse Action Kid with that one. Yeah, I don't remember. Okay, towards Golden Gate on Haight. Thank you, CA. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Okay, going. Green light. Speaking of, I'm so hungry at this point. I've had a big breakfast in preparation of this live stream, but now I think I don't even know what time it is now here. You know, I've been jet lagged for quite a few days coming here because I was in Italy, so it's 9 hours difference, which is pretty crazy. I had never experienced such a big time difference before in my life. I mean, New York, which is 6 hours from Italy, was the maximum really, but 9 hours is, wow, another level. And I would say first 3 days I was really struggling. Like, I was all confused all day. My mind was foggy. Luckily I didn't get any nausea or something like that, which sometimes I get when I go from New York to Italy. Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, this is Ashbury. I believe I should turn this way, right? Yay! Distractions! We went inside that store earlier. So if you play back this live stream, I'll say after probably 20 minutes, 15 minutes, I went into distractions. So I'm at 653 Ashbury Street. If you want me to go to a specific address, like a specific house in Ashbury, just let me know. Give me a number and I will go there. Oh, good to know that it's 3:30 p.m. here. Oh, it's CJ. Okay. Do you still get unsynced audio? Bad, okay. It means that it's time to close this live stream. For sure. If you... Sorry, this streaming in your city is much... There's no one. Here was to a phone. Just thank you all. Spot. Okay. Remember to, if you wanted to comment something meaningful to this live stream, leave the comment in the comments of the playback of this video so that I can read them and I will answer them 100%. If you want to send me suggestions for where to eat right now, for example, in this neighborhood, since I'm gonna grab a bite now, let me know on either Instagram DMs or better on email mj@watershaymaryjane.com. Thank you. Bye bye.